Achieving full equality for Black people in every aspect of society, including education, wealth, employment, and politics, is a complex and ongoing process that requires sustained effort and commitment from individuals, communities, institutions, and governments. While progress has been made in advancing civil rights and addressing systemic racism, significant disparities and inequalities persist. The timeline for achieving full equality is difficult to predict, as it depends on a multitude of factors, including societal attitudes, political will, policy changes, economic conditions, and cultural shifts. However, there are steps that can be taken to work towards this goal. Addressing systemic racism. It is essential to dismantle systemic racism embedded within institutions and policies that perpetuate inequalities. This includes reforming criminal justice systems, addressing disparities in education and healthcare, and implementing anti-discrimination laws and policies. Investing in education, providing equitable access to quality education, from early childhood through higher education, is crucial for empowering Black individuals and closing the achievement gap. This includes investing in resources, support services, and culturally responsive curriculum. Promoting economic opportunity. Creating pathways to economic opportunity, including access to stable employment, entrepreneurship opportunities, and wealth-building resources, can help address disparities in wealth and economic mobility. Increasing political representation. Encouraging and supporting Black representation in politics and leadership roles can amplify the voices and concerns of Black communities and ensure that their interests are represented in decision-making processes. Fostering cultural understanding and empathy. Promoting dialogue, empathy, and understanding across racial and cultural lines can help bridge divides and create a more inclusive society where all individuals are valued and respected. While achieving full equality may be a long-term goal, progress can be made through collective action, advocacy, and ongoing commitment to social justice and equality. It will require collaboration and solidarity across diverse communities and sectors to address the root causes of inequality and create a more just and equitable society for all individuals. The trajectory of change is influenced by a variety of factors and is shaped by historical context, social dynamics, and ongoing efforts for progress. While progress has been made in some areas, significant disparities and challenges persist. Here's an overview of the trajectory of change in each aspect. Education. Over the past several decades, there have been efforts to address disparities in education through initiatives such as desegregation, affirmative action, and increased funding for schools serving marginalized communities. However, persistent achievement gaps and disparities in resources and opportunities continue to hinder Black students' access to quality education and academic success. Efforts to improve access to early childhood education, support for low-income schools, and culturally relevant curriculum are ongoing. Wealth. The racial wealth gap remains a significant challenge, with Black families typically possessing far less wealth than white families. This gap is influenced by historical factors such as slavery, segregation, and discriminatory lending practices, as well as ongoing disparities in income, home ownership, and access to financial resources. Efforts to address the wealth gap include policies aimed at promoting homeownership, increasing access to affordable housing, and supporting entrepreneurship and wealth-building initiatives within Black communities. Employment. Black Americans continue to face disparities in employment opportunities, with higher rates of unemployment and underemployment compared to white Americans. Structural barriers such as discrimination in hiring, occupational segregation, and disparities in access to quality jobs contribute to these disparities. Efforts to promote workforce diversity, combat workplace discrimination, and increase access to job training and economic opportunity are important for addressing these challenges. Politics. Black Americans have made significant strides in political representation and participation, with increasing numbers of Black elected officials at the local, state, and national levels. However, systemic barriers, such as voter suppression, gerrymandering, and disparities in political power and resources continue to limit Black political influence and representation. Efforts to expand voting rights, promote electoral reform, and increase civic engagement are crucial for advancing Black political empowerment and representation. Overall, The trajectory of change for Black people in achieving equality in every aspect of society is marked by progress, setbacks, and ongoing struggles. While there have been significant advancements in some areas, systemic racism, institutional barriers, and disparities persist, requiring sustained efforts and collective action to address. By continuing to advocate for social justice, equity, and inclusion, meaningful progress towards equality can be achieved over time. Predicting the achievement of equality for Black people in every aspect of society within a specific time frame, such as 10 years, is highly challenging and speculative. While progress towards equality is ongoing, significant disparities and systemic barriers persist across various sectors, including education, wealth, employment, and politics. The timeline for achieving full equality depends on a multitude of factors, including policy changes, social movements, cultural shifts, and individual actions. It is influenced by complex interactions between historical legacies, structural inequalities, and ongoing efforts for social change. While it is difficult to predict with certainty when full equality for Black people in every aspect of society will be achieved, it is crucial to remain hopeful and committed to the pursuit of justice and equity. While systemic racism and structural inequalities pose significant challenges, progress has been made over time through collective action, advocacy, and policy reforms. The pursuit of equality is an ongoing struggle that requires sustained commitment, dedication, and solidarity from individuals, communities, and institutions.